please come to order. The first item on our agenda is public hearing, is a public participation, excuse me. I would note that we have a public hearing this evening, and we have 3 other items under new business regarding lot splits, etc. And all those people in the audience who are here to address those issues will have the opportunity to address the Planning Commission. But if there's anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the Planning Commission and any other appropriate topic, we'd be glad to hear from you if you come forward to the podium and give us your name and address. All right, seeing none, I will move on with the agenda. The first item on our agenda is the minutes of the March 10th and 24th meetings, and they will be distributed at a future date. I'm going to skip to new business to facilitate the best use of everyone's time in the audience this evening. The first item is a lot splits, minor subdivision creating 3 building lots at 732 Silvercrest Drive. Mr. Kaiser.
Yes, the applicant owns a lot on Silvercrest Drive. It's roughly about almost 4 acres, 3.9 acres. Wants to subdivide it, and in the corner shows what the new plat would look like. Would create 3 new lots. There's a house here, and then it would create 2 open vacant lots. The middle lot would be rather large, about 3.2 acres. It could be developed as a single-family home. It also has enough street frontage on Silver Creek that new street could be constructed back there to create a larger development site. There's really no other issues involved with this. I think in your staff report you've got a picture of the lot as it exists now, so you can see the house in the southwest corner. Engineering, I just got the comments back from them this afternoon, so I didn't have a chance to copy them. They had no issues with it. They'll assign some new lot numbers. They don't believe any additional improvements would be required, especially if this middle lot, the 3.2 acre lot, is not going to be developed at this time. If it were to be a single family house lot, I believe the utilities are in the Silvercrest Road right away. They could tap into those. Obviously, in the future, they want to do something bigger, then it would come back here for another plat approval. Yeah, the only other thing you noted is that apparently the consolidated lot that exists now was actually created about 13 years ago. So the lots, once upon a time, existed. They created one out of it. Now they're kind of going back to the pre-2012 development pattern. So with that in mind, I would recommend approval of this minor subdivision of City Lot 9699 with the 3 conditions as noted in the staff report.
Any questions for Mr. Kaiser? Is the applicant with us? Wish to make any comment? No? Okay. You familiar with the conditions? You familiar with the conditions are acceptable? Okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Planning Commission approve the lot split, minor subdivision, creating 3 new building lots at 732 Silvercrest Avenue out of City Lot 9699, subject to the 3 staff conditions.
Second.
You've heard the motion and the second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you for coming. The next item is a consolidation plat for 530 Leeds Gate Drive. Nicholas and Barbara Pappas applicants, R1 and R3 Township Residential Districts. Mr. Kaiser.
Yes, in your staff report, I've got a diagram showing the existing lot arrangements, but Dr. Pappas and his wife own a house lot at 530 Leeds Gate Drive. They also own a vacant parcel. It's a landlocked parcel that's still in Wadsworth Township. That's the piece that's in R3 residential. It's ongoing annexation. It would be what is it called? A Type 1 expedited annexation, because it has to be brought into the city wholly, because the intent is to do an addition to the house, and that addition will cross the property line, which exists now. This consolidation plat will eliminate that line, but both halves of the lot have to be in the same taxing jurisdiction. So really, the purpose we're here tonight is to kind of get a jump on things, because this plat really can't be recorded till the annexation plat is recorded. But I know the doctor has plans to do the addition. They'd like to start as soon as possible. So I think this helps speed up the process, because with approval tonight, all that we need to do is wait till the annexation is complete. A new city lot number will be assigned to the northern parcel. That's the one that's currently in the township. Once that annexation plat's recorded, we plunk that lot number on this consolidation plat, create a new one, and then, since it's all in the city, he can start construction, and we can follow up later date with rezoning this north half of the property from its township classification to the city R1. Again, at the time the report was prepared, I didn't have comments from the engineering department. They've returned them today. They really see no issues. They've noted that the council signature block can be removed. They'll assign new lot numbers, and before the Mylars are brought in to sign, they'll check to make sure that there are no other errors and kind of confirm that with the tax map department. So with that, I would suggest Commission approve this with the 4 conditions as noted in the staff report. Just wanted to point out that condition number 4 states that the plat really can't be recorded until the annexation process has been concluded and that annexation plat recorded. So with your approval, they can make the changes. We'll hang on to it and get the Mylar at the appropriate time.
Any questions from Mr. Kaiser? No. Dr. Pappas, do you want to make any comments? Nope. Okay. Are we ready for a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Planning Commission approve the consolidation plat for 530 Leeds Gate Drive with the addition of the Wadsworth Township lot number as recorded, subject to the 4 staff recommendations.
Second.
You've heard the motion and the second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The other item is a site plan revision for accessory use, Lincoln Elementary School at 280 North Lyman Street, the R4 Residential District. Mr. Kaiser.
Okay, school district's proposing some site modifications to Lincoln School, basically on the rear or west side of the school, creating an outdoor learning lab. Give the students some hands-on experiences in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And their application, I think, gives a kind of a full description of what the proposal entails. And really, in terms of improvements, really nothing is considered permanent, with the exception of a potential sunshade. But this plan shows you the various activity areas that they would put in place. And on other pages within the application, they give you an idea of what some of these things might look like. These are not the actual items they're going to have, but similar. So really the sunshade will be on posts. It's probably the most permanent of all the items. There'll be a seating area, kind of an outdoor classroom, gravel with some seats and other structures. Some various habitats and a weather station will be installed along the path. Also, this whole lab will be enclosed by a fence. They're going to add privacy slats to the fence that exists on the west property line. It's going to be accessible to the students during regular school hours, basically 9 to 3 p.m. in suitable weather conditions. I'd also point out that as activity areas, they are at least staying 5 feet off that side property line. And with the exception of the weather station, which can really be on a post, they have a way they could even mount it to the fence post. It just kind of collects water and other environmental info. So I think they've taken into account the minimum setbacks for these accessory uses or structures. I've also reviewed this with the engineering department to find out if any of these improvements are considered impervious surfaces. Would they need to do any more stormwater management? There's nothing there. In fact, I even found out, I didn't even know this, but gravel is only considered an impervious surface when they use it for parking areas. If they're going to use it for seating, there's not enough kids and weight to compact that down. So he said nothing. So after this approval, they can move forward with the improvements. Really, there's no other zoning concerns. I believe this outdoor lab is probably appropriate for the school grounds. So I would recommend approval of this outdoor learning lab as presented. I think this staff from school is here to tell you a little bit more about it.
Any questions for Mr. Kaiser? Somebody from the schools here? Yep. Yes, please.
My name is Laura Maslick. I'm the principal at Lincoln Elementary. First of all, thank you for having us and considering this. This is going to be a great space for our kiddos, grades K through 4, approximately 200 students, to get outside and experience science hands-on. We have a newly adopted science curriculum, so our teachers have really poured through those standards and found activities and supplemental materials to support outdoor learning that align with our standards for the school district. Mrs. Reeves is here with me, one of our school teachers who put a lot of hard work and heart into this. It's her passion. Teachers have gotten on board and kids are very, very excited for the opportunity to take learning outside. We consider it an extension of our indoor classroom. Kids will be supervised in that area, but great learning can happen outdoors too, especially in science. So thank you for considering, and if you have any specific questions, we'd love to take them.
I have a question.
Sure.
You didn't happen to bring the mini catapult with you tonight? Yeah, all right.
Yeah, they're going to be They are handheld, and we envision on that strip ping pong balls, nothing that can launch over a fence 6 feet, but just the opportunity to, small launches to measure and do some of those skills.
No 100-pound
Because
rocks.
Andy immediately said, of course, Dr. Ho was like, no catapults.
Mr. Moore, I expect an invite for that working lunch session, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
Any
All
other
right.
questions?
No, I don't believe so.
Do you plan any outdoor lighting to,
Lighting, actually we did not, because we thought about it being used just during daylight hours, but what we did consider, and our technology specialist Phil Luthman is helping us to install additional cameras in that space, just like we have inside the school and around the perimeter, just for safety measures when students and staff are out there.
terrific.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have a proposal.
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that the commission approve the proposed outdoor learning laboratory for Lincoln Elementary School as presented.
Second?
You've heard the motion and the second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right, I will now return to old business, which is a public hearing regarding a planned unit development, Vance Farms PUD, additional properties applicant, properties applicant in the City Lot 9850 and properties in Wadsworth Township, subject to annexation on Hartman Road. Mr. Kaiser.
Okay, at our last meeting, the applicant gave a pretty thorough explanation of the project, but they're seeking approval to create a residential planned unit development on roughly 71 acres of land. Most of the property is still in the township, I think roughly 60 to 61 acres, but it's working its way through the annexation process. I think it's either going to be before council or already is for first reading. I think tomorrow's the first potential reading. And state law specifies how long something has to be before in council, and it gives them a time frame in which to act. We expect the annexation to be acted on by June 3rd of this year. We also discussed the concept plan for this PUD, and it would consist of roughly 280 attached and detached dwelling units and lots. Overall density of the project would be about 4.5 units an acre. There'd also be 17 plus acres of common open space, and importantly, and I'll just look at this drawing quickly. One of the big things with this project is that it does extend Smoke Rise Drive from its current terminus to Hartman Road. So it does complete that connection between High Street and Hartman that's been on various city plans for at least two decades. I think it first showed up in the 1986 plan. So the process for adopting a PUD or creating a PUD under the new regulations is a little bit different than what we've done in the past, and it involves three major components. First is it establishes the boundary districts of the planned unit development. Secondly, it establishes the code or zoning text that's going to apply to any properties that fall within that PUD district. And those are similar to any other zoning district. We're going to have the list of permitted uses, dwelling types, setbacks, lot area requirements, etc. It also includes additional development standards, which are part of the new PUD code, which don't necessarily apply to standard zoning districts and standard developments. And then the third phase of this is that the general plan becomes the preliminary plat for the PUD, and it kind of it is a basic format that the development will have to follow. So right now we're going to be looking at two of those three items, and that's mainly the PUD district and what text should apply. Because the regulations do result in the creation of a new zoning district, Planning Commission is basically going to act like you do in any other zoning map amendment. You'll review it, make a recommendation to City Council, who's going to ultimately adopt the zoning map and text. So I think the first thing to look at would be the PUD boundaries, and basically it's all the land you see on this map. The shaded area represents property that is already in the city. The zoning of that is actually split. Basically 2/3 of it, the northern 2/3 is zoned R3 residential. The bottom third is C3 commercial. And I think that boundary line was put there with the intent that Smoke Rise Drive would extend to the east along that boundary. Anything to the north could be residential, anything to the south might be picked up and incorporated into the larger lot that's behind there for some other type of commercial development. So it's this lot here, which is roughly 10 to 11 acres, plus the three additional properties that are in the township and working through the annexation process. So just some general info about it. Obviously, this is all on the west side of Hartman Road, north of I-76 and south of Reimer. going to look here at the, I had modified the zoning map a little bit, but most of the land around it is either undeveloped or sparsely developed as residential lots within Wadsworth Township, and that's mostly to the northeast and east. To the northwest, the property does abut the city. That's where you see the R3 zone and the Redwood apartments that are being developed. To the north of that, this land is already now in the city. It was annexed late last year, and it's zoned LDR and R1. That's pretty much the only other place for development within the city right now without this annexation. And again, to the south, we have some C3, to the west and southwest, we have some land that's in the city, zone C3. There is a portion of a parcel that is still in Wadsworth Township with the R2 zoning, but pretty much everything around here is undeveloped at this time. Obviously, this lot here, the one that's split zoned, would be developed as part of the PUD along with the land in the township. So the apartments themselves are developed at about 7 units an acre, which is close to the maximum allowable. And again, to the south, we've got some commercial zoning, but site is undeveloped at this time. I did, with your staff report, give you some excerpts out of the comprehensive plan and the annexation policy. What are its recommendations? What does it see for this area? On the annexation policy, this was identified as Area C. Most of the land does have access to city sanitary and water. Recommended uses in the area included a mix of commercial and various residential uses. That did include planned unit developments, cluster lot subdivisions, and multi-family housing. And again, densities shouldn't exceed roughly 7.3 units an acre, which is about what the maximum density is in an R3 district. That annexation policy also noted that the plans, any development plans for these lands should include, or actually must include, the extension of Smoke Rise Drive to Hartman Road. So the proposed development plan does accomplish that. With respect to the comprehensive plan, the site is kind of split between two character areas. The western portion, or that area that's already within the city, falls within character area 6, which is kind of the High Street regional interchange, looking mainly at commercial type uses. But the land that's currently in the township and pending annexation falls within the new growth area, north character area of the city. That area has been slightly truncated from what the plan envisioned 11 years ago because a lot of the properties to the east have already been developed. So they're kind of out of the mix. So that just kind of leaves this area, as well as the vacant land on the north side of Reimer, as properties that are likely to be developed within the city. So again, the comprehensive plan looked at this character area 10 a little further and actually had planned for what were called some sub areas where some mixed uses and non-commercial uses might be appropriate, and that was mainly along the southern area of the land to be annexed. As you got closer to the highway, perhaps that's where you could have higher residential uses, some kind of commercial or mixed type use in lieu of standard single-family homes. So again, I'd also point out that both the annexation policy and comp plan did recognize the need to extend Smoke Rise Drive. That's important. And I think given the existing developments around this site, as well as the existing zoning classifications of the abutting property, this area is probably suitable for the development of a residential planned unit development. So, generally speaking, I think what the lands here are fine for being rezoned to allow a PUD development. So then the next part is the zoning text. What should be allowed in this particular PUD district? Well, obviously the things that the PUD regulations look at are permitted uses, maximum densities, homeowner association requirements. So there are going to be any. And yeah, there should be, because we've got some open space to manage. Also spells out some lot area and dimensions and setbacks. And again, any design guidelines or any other special regulations that would pertain to any uses or structures that would be permitted in the PUD. So again, most of those things are what you would find in any normal zoning district text. But as I mentioned at the last meeting, in this particular annexation, Council has a pre-annexation agreement executed with the with the developer, and that does specify what those various uses are going to be and at what densities and what minimum lot sizes were. And I think I attached a copy of that that pre-development agreement to your text so you could see what's in there. Basically, those will become the zoning text for this Vance Farm PUD if it's recommended for approval and council ultimately does accept that that recommendation. And again, what was in that pre-annexation agreement actually provided the basis for which our new PUD regulations are designed. So at this point, I really have no issues with the development regulations for the Vance Farm PUD or for the land area that would be part of that zoning district. So again, I think it would be appropriate for the Commission to recommend council adopt the Vance Farm PUD zoning map and text for these lands. The final component, as I mentioned, it was really the general plan, or how the preliminary plat, as it were. And this drawing is kind of color-coded, showing various phases, but it does consist of some townhouse lots up along Smoke Rise Drive as it heads towards Hartman. There's also some additional townhouse lots along the I-76 right-of-way. Most everything between Hartman Road and the townhouses would be single-family homes on lots that are about 7,800 square feet. I think the development pre-annexation agreement said the minimum lot sizes would be at least 7,200 square feet. They've easily exceeded those requirements. I believe there's 92 single-family home lots and about 188 fee simple townhomes on this site. As I mentioned, overall density is about 4.5 units an acre, which is actually less than what was authorized in the pre-annexation agreement, which I think was about 6. Same thing here. The plan does call for about 17.5 acres of open space. That's roughly 28% of the project area. It exceeds the 20% that was the minimum specified in the agreement. Most of the streets are going to be public and designed to public standards. There will be 2 private streets marked streets AA and BB up here running parallel to Smoke Rise Drive. Excuse me, and that's to provide vehicular access to these townhome units, which is a good thing because there's not going to be individual curb cuts to those townhouses off of Smoke Rise. It's going to still be developed with the arterial standards in mind. So those access private drives get the traffic off the main road, and they can access the garages off the private drives. Not so much of an issue down here on Street C, which is far enough away. It's also not a through street, so I believe those townhouses will have direct access, vehicular access, right from the street itself. I think I'd mentioned that the submission did include a traffic impact study, the wetlands delineations, and a underground mine study. Those have been turned over to the engineering department for review. I'm still waiting to get feedback from the other departments, but there are two major development issues that I think need to be worked out. The first is sanitary sewer. It does appear that a lift station is going to be required for this project, and in discussions with the engineering department, they let it be known that it's going to have to be slightly oversized to potentially provide some service. There are some serviceable lands to the north and northeast, and the plans do show a pump station here, right above, just north of the intersection of Smoke Rise and Hinkle. So again, there's some ongoing discussions. The ultimate size of that lift station needs to be finalized, as well as its final location. I had heard some talk that maybe it would be best to move the lift station. I'm not sure, but I think we'll get some feedback from engineering on that. Secondly, I think the most important thing would be the traffic impact study is still being evaluated. Our reviewers had some issues with some of the assumptions and how the traffic would flow. There's also some concerns about, the intersection of Smoke Rise with Hartman. You can see that it's slightly north of the bend or the dogleg there in the road. Ideally, that dogleg is where the intersection should align, and I believe the alternate location was several hundred feet further to the north, maybe up where my cursor is now. To me, it makes more sense to align it with the dogleg, but that needs to be looked at and finalized not only with our engineers but with the county engineers, because part of Hartman's still going to be under the county's jurisdiction. And that also calls into play, okay, let's get a good alignment, but also, what's that intersection going to look like? Are there going to be dedicated turn lanes either on Hartman Road? Is there going to be a dedicated left turn lane from Smoke Rise heading north? Those are the critical issues with this that we need to see. So. Again, that's still under discussion. I know the county engineer's office needs to get involved in this too. So I think at this point we should probably hold off on any further discussions regarding the plan until we get some more feedback. And I have a feeling this is going to be modified slightly to address those issues. However, I don't think that should stop making a recommendation on the general PUD, Vance Farm PUD district map or the zoning text, which was in the pre-annexation agreement. So that would be my recommendation. I think the text and map are fine, but I would withhold any action on the general plan until we have some written comments back from engineering. That's all I have. If there's any questions before we open the public hearing or to the...
Jeff, are you involved with the negotiation in the description of the planned unit development specifications?
Yes, we were involved, both myself and Mr. Morris, Economic Development Director, were involved as this were making its way through. We tried to say, okay, here are the things that we ought to see in the development agreement, what things we'd want to see as part of that zoning text.
Sure.
And we made some recommendations, gave some feedback on these setbacks don't look right, I'd expand them, or your minimum lot size should be this. But that was kind of the first go-around, you know, and council adopted that pre-annexation agreement with those provisions that you saw. We basically used that format to set the new PUD regulation. So when it says, okay, when someone comes to us in the future, they'll say, here's the land we want to rezone, here's a list of our permitted uses, here's our lot requirements, etc. So, yeah, we were involved in helping set that up.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Kaiser? All right, at this time, I would like to open the public hearing. Let me make a comment or two first. The purpose of the public hearing this evening is not to approve that plan that's been talked about at great length. As Mr. Kaiser suggested, there's going to have to be some changes. There's traffic issues. The alignment of the roads may have to change. So conceptually, it's right. In detail, it's wrong. So the purpose of the public hearing this evening is really to forward to council the recommendation from the Planning Commission to establish this property as Advanced Farm PUD zoning map and text. And that's what we're going to do this evening. We're not going to get into any of the details about that plan. When that time comes, there will not be a public hearing, but anybody who wants to speak under public participation can come and do so. But the Planning Commission will take that project up and then eventually make recommendations and approvals as to how it's going to develop. So with that being said, if there's anyone in the audience, I don't know if anybody signed in. It's not important if they did or didn't. If anyone would like to speak, pro or con, we'd be glad to hear from you. If you'd come forward to the podium, give us your name and address.
Good evening. My name's Chris Dordia. I'm at 8193 Hartman Road. I am the first property north of that dog leg where the proposed entrance is to the new development. I just had a couple questions to get clarification. It sounds like there's a lot of unknowns already about this. But our houses on the north, well, on the east side of Hartman are not being looked at to be annexed, correct? It's just that mapped out area? Right. Okay. Traffic control, I know that was brought up. I have cars upside down in the ditch in front of my house regularly. I've lost my mailbox probably a dozen times in the past 10 years. The neighbors just north of me have lost theirs a number of times. During morning school hours and evening after work hours, it's almost impossible to get out of my driveway as it is currently. During the day, it's not so bad, but Hartman, as you know, is a very big cut through for the town already. So adding that additional thoroughput there is really going to bog down traffic, which I know you're waiting on the study to get back, but I just want to bring that up as a point. The wells on our property, what is that construction on the other side of the road from us on the west side going to do to the wells that service our homes across the street?
Should do nothing.
But that is something they are looking at too as well?
Well, what they're going to have to do is put this will become part of the public system. So they won't be digging down for any additional aquifers. So okay. I wouldn't think, and really to put in water lines, those are usually 3 to 6 feet below ground. So I wouldn't think there would be any impact.
Okay. I just know that over the years, the creek that runs through the back of on my property has diminished significantly in the amount of water, and I'm not sure what development or building is causing that or if there's something else that's going on, but I know that we've been losing water through the property. It hasn't necessarily affected our wells yet, but that is a concern obviously for us. Along with that, additional traffic, I mean, one thing that I would like to see now is possibly reducing the speed from 45 to 35 on that stretch of Hartman right there, especially in the wintertime. I mean, people come flying around there real quick. Like I've said, I've come home and there's been a car upside down in my driveway. So it's pretty sketchy right there. So I live right on that dog leg. I went out today and picked up 13 beer cans, a bunch of little mini bottles of liquor. I've picked up full bottles of liquor in my yard. As they come around that bend, the first thing they do is chuck stuff into my front yard. Every day, my kids or I are out there picking up something. It's, I mean, they don't want to get pulled over with it in their car, so it goes right in my yard, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's posted about half a mile each side of that curve. Goes down to 35, but that doesn't mean people do it.
That's a yellow sign, so it's a suggested speed. It is not a required speed. So if they were doing 45 there, they're not going to get cited for it. But yeah, suggested is nice, but yet nobody follows it. I've had people honk at me as I pull into my driveway, and I turn my turn signal on before I even get to that dog leg because I already know, and people still get frustrated. Another question, if that, wherever that thoroughput goes, is there a possibility of the city putting up some type of barrier in front of the homes that thoroughput is going to be facing to diminish like headlights into windows and things like that? Maybe a row of arborvitaes or something natural and pretty. I don't think a fence line would be fun, but if there was a row of arborvitaes, because as those vehicles come out, even if it's not directly at somebody's window, as they turn, it's going to be lights into windows every time somebody comes in or out of
Possible
there.
landscaping requirement.
Well, that would actually be on your property, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think we can put landscaping on someone else's property.
It's in the township, too. We can't
It's
do
also in the
anything.
township, and again, the issues you're bringing up, I think, are important, but they're those issues that I said are related to the site plan, not so much the potential zoning. And I think that's worthy of being considered, not only reducing the speed, but what improvements might be needed to Hartman to either smooth that curve out and make it a little safer.
A little friendlier.
And that may involve some landscaping or guardrails along that eastern portion of the right-of-way. But that section of the road is actually under the jurisdiction of Medina County engineers.
Okay.
So our engineers and theirs, need to get together and come up with a plan that we both can live and work with and helps.
So is that something that should be addressed to the Medina County engineers? Do they have, how would that be done? Or is it
The
just,
Good
city
question. It
engineers and the
probably
county
wouldn't hurt
engineers
to
are
let
talking to
them
each
know
other.
your concerns, what you're experiencing now, and just indicate, hey, I'm aware of a potential development project that's going to bring a street out intersecting with Hartman. But I think for the most part, everyone here, and I know members of the commission, are aware of some of the problems on those roads. And so we need to make sure that whatever happens, those get fixed.
it's going to happen. Something's going to go there. I just want to make sure that it's easier and safer for everybody that's going to be there.
Well, the next step is a development plan.
Right.
And all those issues will
Will
be
be
part
ironed
of
out.
that discussion.
Excellent. I just wanted to bring those points to you guys just to make sure that they're being checked on. Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the Planning Commission regarding this project? All right, seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Mr. Kaiser? Commissioners, we need a motion regarding forwarding to City Council this Vance Farm PUD zoning map and text amendments for their consideration.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant is here tonight. I don't know if you have
Oh,
anything
I'm sorry.
additional
Do
you
you have
want
anything
to
you'd like to say?
add or fill us in.
Thanks again for the opportunity to be here tonight. Happy to answer any questions if you have additional questions.
Not at this time.
Thank you.
All right, back.
And again, any action tonight is just on the zoning text and map.
Right.
Not
There's
the
nothing to
plan,
do
because obviously we've got
with
some
all
issues.
that, all the development, the traffic issues, et cetera, et cetera. That's going to be taken up when we get this other piece out of the way. All right, is there a motion regarding that?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Planning Commission recommend to City Council approving the Vance Farms Planned Unit Development zoning map and text, which are in agreement with the terms of the pre-annexation agreement executed by City Council via Resolution 25-01.
Second.
You heard the motion and the second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you all for coming.
Do we need a motion to table?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, you could go ahead and do a motion that we're going to table action on
Okay,
the...
yeah, all right, good idea.
On the general plan until a future meeting.
Yeah, all right, we'll table that. All right, motion to table.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Planning Commission table any further action on the general plan until such time as additional information regarding the developing issues are received and reviewed by the commission.
Second.
You've heard the motion, the second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, Mr. Kaiser, is there anything else for the Planning Commission this evening?
Not this evening. Next meeting is the 28th. I'm not sure if I've got anything for that agenda unless we get some additional feedback on the general plan, in which case once we get something, we'll bring it back.
Okay. All right, commissioners have anything else they'd like to bring up this evening? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move we adjourn?
We are adjourned.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.